ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवर्जक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
संत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय।
जय
सको श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत शिव श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री
जय
राधा कृष्ण गोकुल श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन धाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप धाम की जय। गंगा मैया की जय। यमुना मैया की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्णा
All glories to the assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्णा
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
हरे
Krishna.
कृष्णा
All glories, all glories, all and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Shri Raj ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हर्दन्तैस्वभद्राणि विदनोति स्वरसां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवसेव्या भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टकी। Hare Krishna. So today we are continuing our reading on Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in the second canto. We are on chapter number 10, and today we are going to discuss the verse number 19. So I'll recite now, and then after that you can follow. Vivakshor bhumno vahanirvag vehartam tayo jale chaitasya suricham nirodha samajayata. विवक्षोर्मुखतो भूम्नो वहनीर्वाग् व्याहृतं तयो जले चैतस्य सुचिरं निरोधा समजायता। विवक्षोर्मुखतो भूम्नो वहनीर्वाग् व्याहृतं तयो जले चैतस्य सुचिरं निरोधा समजायता. Yeah, please decide.
विवक्षोर्मुखतो भूम्नो वह्निर्वाग् व्याहृतं तया जले चैतस्य सुचिरं निरोधा समयाजयता हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.
विवाकषः मुखातो भूम्नो भानि भयाहृतं तयो जले चैतस्या शुचिरं निरधो समजायत। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Anyone else would like to cite? All right. Okay, so we'll read the synonym translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms. Vivaksho, when there was a need to speak. Mukta, from the mouth. Bhumna, of the supreme. Vahni, fire or the controlling deity of fire. Vak, vibration. Vyaharatam, speeches. Tayo, by both jale, in the water, cha, however, etasya, of all these, suchiram, a very, very long time, nirodha, suspension, samjayat, did continue. Translation. When the Supreme desired to speak, speeches were vibrated from the mouth. Then the controlling deity fire was generated from the mouth. But when he was lying in the water, all these functions remained suspended. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The peculiarity of the gradual development of different senses is simultaneously supported by their controlling deities. It is to be understood, therefore, that the activity of the sense organs are controlled by the will of the Supreme. The senses are, so to speak, offering a license for the conditioned souls who are to use them properly under the control of the controlling deity deputed by the Supreme Lord. One who violates such controlling regulations has to be punished by degradation to a lower status of life. Consider, for example, the tongue and its controlling deity, Varuna. The tongue is meant for eating, and man, animals, and birds each have their own different tastes because of different licenses. The taste of human beings and that of a swine are not on the same level. The controlling deity, however, awards or certifies a particular type of body when particular living entity develops a taste in terms of different modes of nature. If the human being develops taste without discrimination, as does the swine, then the controlling deity is certainly certified for the next term to award him the body of a swine. The swine accepts any food, any kind of food stuff, including stools, and a human being who has developed such indiscriminate taste must be prepared for a degraded life in the next life. Such a life is also God's grace, because the conditioned soul desired a body like that for perfectly tasting a particular type of foodstuff. If a man gets the body of a swine, it must be considered the grace of the Lord, because the Lord awards the facility. After death, the next body is offered by superior control, not blindly. A human being, therefore, must be on his guard as to what sort of body he is going to have in the next life. An irresponsible life of indiscrimination is risky, and that is the declaration of all scriptures. Om Ajnanatimiradasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnam Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajim Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krish Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचरणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशताणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्तश्रमा पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्त रूप स्वरूपकं भक्तवतारं भक्ताखं नमामि भक्त शक्तिं वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकांत राधा कांत अनुसुत तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुत देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिय वांछा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण। So one more time I'll recite the verse. विवक्षोर्मुखतो भूम्नो वहनीर् वाग्विहर्तं तयो जले चैतस्य सुचिरं निरोधा समजायता. Translation. When the Supreme desired to speak, speeches were vibrated from the mouth. Then the controlling deity fire was generated from the mouth. But when he was lying in the water, all these functions remained suspended. So here, this 10th chapter is the title name of this 10th chapter is the Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. I remember like the first verse of this chapter I started 2 weeks back, and at that time we discussed that Srimad Bhagavatam describes or broadly did discuss the 10 subject matters. अत्र सर्गो विसर्गश्च स्थानम पोषणमुतिया मनमंत्रिषु शानुकथा निरोधो मुक्तिराश्रया. So again, just a recap that what we are discussing, there are 10 subject matters we are discussing in Srimad Bhagavatam, and this chapter is basically describing these subject matter in just in a definition form, not in detail, but there are certain information is given this chapter. All these subject matters are defined in the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. As I explained, the first canto describe the first subject matter, second canto describe second subject matter, like that. So the first one, Sarga, is the creation. Visarga is the secondary creation. Sthanam, which is basically the right situation for all the living entities. The places, different places in the material world, they are the third subject. Fourth is Poshanam, the protection by the Lord or maintenance. Then fifth one is the Manvantar, where all the description of the Manus, and then the Utiya, which is the impetus for activities. Then we have Ishanu Katha, which is a science of the god, and then ultimately we have Nirodha, which is winding up or close of the material world, and then Mukti, liberation, and ultimately the Ashraya Tattva, which is a final Tattva, which is described in the 10th chapter, which is Lord Shri Krishna. So here now, after that, from verse number 10, Sukhdev Goswami is explaining about the Sarga, the first subject matter, the primary creation done by the Lord. So in order to create the Sarga, Lord Mahavishnu expands himself into the Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and he entered into the universe, and then he lie down in the universe, and then fill the half of the universe with the water from his body. That's called Garbhodaka ocean. And he lies down in that ocean for quite a long period of time. So that's why his name is called Narayan. Narayan, because Narayana, there are two words, Narayan, means Nar means the Lord, and Ayan means the ocean, where the Lord is sleeping in the ocean is Narayan. Or there's another meaning of Narayan is that who is carrying, who is Nara means the combined living entities, and Ayan means the resting place, where all the living entities are resting in the body of Narayan. So Narayan is basically have multiple meanings. So this form of Lord Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, is called Narayan. Then here, from verse number 12, we are discussing the different types of like initial ingredients created by the Lord, right? So first is a dravya, like what are the different elements needed, then karma, kala, swabhava, and then ultimately jivas are coming from the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So then we see this Virat Purusha. Right now we are discussing the creation of this Virat Purusha form of the Lord. And in that there are different things like Adhyatmik, Adidevik, and Adibhautik. Those things are created. And from either within the body of the universal form, there's different Ojas, Sahas, and Balam. We have all discussed this in previous verses. I'm just recapping. So today we are discussing that that when the supreme desire to speak, when the time come for the universal form of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, when they try to speak, speeches were vibrated from the mouth. So means when there is a desire, so ultimately how all these different elements created, first the desire is there. First is the desire, then the gross sense organs, like what we call Adibhuta. Adibhuta means like our tongue get created, right? And from then we have subtle sense organ, the quality to speak, which is Adhyatma, and then Devata, who is controlling deity for that, for this speech. And then tanmatra. Tanmatra means adibhuta, which is basically like the quality to speak. So these are basically the system of creation. Now here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada brought up a very important point that we are going to discuss today. Here Prabhupada says that the peculiarity of gradual development of different senses simultaneously supported by their controlling deities. So now this point is very important, that we have senses, right? We have senses like we have tongue to speak and to taste. We have ears to hear. We have eyes to see. We have skin to for the sensation, right? So all these senses are there. But one thing we should know, that all these senses are controlled by the deities, controlling deities. These are created by Lord, and for every sense there is a controlling deity, and who actually basically controls our senses. Sometimes we feel that these are all our senses and we can use as we want, but actually not. They are being controlled by the deities, the demigods, and when we want to use it in certain things, we have to desire. Any action that we want to perform, first we need to desire, and then accordingly these are being performed by the controlling deities. So here Prabhupada says that it is to be understood, therefore, that the activity of sense organs are controlled by the will of the Supreme. Suppose if you want to see something, like say suppose right now I'm seeing this monitor, and I'm seeing all these names of all the devotees who are attending this call. So because I have desire to see, but ultimately it is the function of seeing all these things is performed by the controlling deity, and ultimately controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. I can desire, but myself I really not capable of doing that function. It is done by the controlling deity, is done by the senses which are given by Krishna. Now here the second one, Prabhupada says that the senses are, so to speak, offering a license for conditioned souls. So it means the senses are not given us free hand. It's not that we have a senses and we can use as we want, because these are given us by the Lord for particular purposes. Like as a human form of life, as Krishna says, and like we have seen in the scriptures, we say that ahar nidra bhay maithunam cha samanam etat pashuvinanam dharmai tesham adhiko vishesho dharme hina pashuvi samana. There are four common activity between animal and human beings, which is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But what is the difference between animal and human being? A human being means dharma hi tesham adhiko vishesho. A human being who actually, when we call a human, means who perform dharma, who knows what his prescribed duties are and who act according to that duties. Any human who is not acting on his prescribed duty is no better than an animal. Dharma hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharme hina pashubi samana. So any means human life means dharma. Dharma means prescribed duties. If anyone who is not following prescribed duty, he is not a human. This is clear. Because dharme hina pashubi samana. If you are not following prescribed duties, then you are animal. So that's a very clearly point here. So this similarly, we have the senses which are given in our human body, because Krishna has given us this human body. We are very blessed that we have this human body. And now what we have to do is we have to use this human body and the senses for particular purposes. What is given by Krishna? So say here Prabhupada say that the senses are, so to speak, offering a license for conditioned souls, who are to use them properly under the control of controlling deity deputed by the Supreme Lord. So we have tongue. Tongue is given to us for particular purpose, and we have to use that under the controlling deity. Means tongue is controlled by, here Prabhupada say that, Varuna, who is the controlling deity. And we have to use the tongue, the purpose that Krishna gave it to us. But if one who violates, Krishna says, Prabhupada says, if one who violates such controlling regulation has to be punished by degradation of lower status of life. So in a human form of life, the way we use our senses, Krishna monitors that. And if we are not using properly, then Krishna will take away this human body and give us a body which is suited for that. For example, I give you an example. Suppose if you have a small child or a small kid in your house and he want to play a game. If you want to play a game, a small game, like probably a very basic game, right? Like ping pong or something like that, right? And in order to play that game, you as a father or mother, you bought him a very nice, Mac machine or a big laptop or a very nice, a computer, which was probably $4,000, $5,000. You gave it to him and said, oh, you can play the ping pong here, something like that, right? So because even though that person have a like very powerful machine, but they are using that for a very small minor game, right? In reality, that can be achieved by simply by using a small tablet or some small phone or whatever, right? Which is probably $200, $300, not more than that, right? Or maybe $100, you can actually play those games. So if that person is keep using that heavy machine just for just playing the game, then father might say that, well, you don't need that big machine. Rather than I will give you a tablet, you just play with that and just you don't need that. So here, the same example we can see, Krishna has given us power to speak, power to taste through our tongue. And depend upon how we use our tongue, Krishna can award a similar body. Right now, Krishna has given us this human body. So in human body, how we use our tongue, depend upon that, Krishna will basically award our next life. Say, for example, hey, Prabhupada said that, consider, for example, tongue is controlling duty, Varuna. The tongue is meant for eating. And man, animal, and birds must have different taste because of their different licenses. So now we have tongue, and tongue means like we have to eat according to which body we are, right? If you have a human body, we have animal body, we have bird body, depending upon that, right? So here Prabhupada says the taste of human beings and that of a swine are not on the same level. See, what is the food for human being? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that there are three types of food. The food in mode of goodness, the food in mode of passion, food in mode of ignorance. For human life, the food is mode of goodness, which is tasty, juicy, and nourishment for and increasing the age of the people. And then there is a food in mode of, I'll show you the verse in Bhagavad Gita. Actually, it says 17.8, where he says that there are three types of food. Krishna says that this is the 7.8 in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that the food is in mode of goodness. It says Ayu Sattva Bala Arogya Sukha Priti Vivardhana Rasya Snigdha Sthira Hridaya Ahara Satvika Priya. Food dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to heart. And then in the next verse, Krishna talks about the food in mode of passion. Katva amla lavanatya ushana titikshna ruksha vidahina ahara rajasyeshtaha dukha shokaha shokmaya pradha. So here you see that food that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. And then the next verse is talking about the mode of ignorance food. Yat yamam gat rasam puti paryushitam chayat uchishtam api cha medhyam bhojanam tamasa priha. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Now here, like if you go back to the verse here, Srila Prabhupada says that the different people have different taste. So the food that is dear to human being is not same food that is dear to swine. If you see, like here in US, you won't find that swine, that swines are walking on the ground and on the road streets. But in India, you can actually see like these swines they are basically living in dirty water, and they're eating stool and those kind of stuff, right? So here Prabhupada said they are not on the same level. The controlling deity, however, awards or certifies a particular type of body when a particular living entity develops a taste in terms of different modes of nature. It's a very important point Prabhupada says that. See, the type of taste we like, accordingly we'll get the next life. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that yam yam vapi sparan bhavam tajjanti anta kalevram tam tam eviti konteya sada tad bhav bhavita. So whatever our frame of mind, whatever our of thoughts will be there at the time of leaving the body, we're going to achieve that state without a doubt. So similarly, here Prabhupada says that if suppose in this lifetime as a human being, if we are not following rules and regulation, and we are not following what is the food for the human form of life, and we start eating the food in mode of ignorance or mode of passion and or lower than that, then the controlling deity or Varuna and Lord Krishna, they will award us the body which is suitable for that kind of taste. Suppose if somebody is interested in eating stool, so for them, why do you need a human body? You will get a stool, you can get a swine body. Suppose somebody is eating non-veg, like eating meat, eating fish, egg, or whatever. For that, why you need a human body? You should get a animal body, like a lion or a dog or cat or something like that, where you have a abundant supply of meat. You can eat meat and then be happy there. Human form of life is not for consumption of meat. Human form of life is there for eating prasadam, tasting prasadam or food in mode of goodness. So accordingly, depend upon what taste you develop in this human form of life, accordingly you will get next life accordingly for that taste. Here Prabhupada says that if the human being develops taste without discrimination, it is a very important part. See, what happen is, as a human, we should control our diet. We should control the things that we eat. Nowadays, what's happening is people are eating here and there, going to any restaurant, any shops, anywhere, whatever is available, they keep eating. They do not consider whether it should be good for us or not, or it should basically good for consumption for human being or not, right? So if they just tasting, eating everything, everything, whatever is coming, like animals, but even animals have some discrimination. But nowadays, human beings are like so bad that they are doing anything. So here, Prabhupada said that if the human being develop taste without discrimination, as does the swine, because swine eat anything, right? Then the controlling deity is certainly certified for the next term to award him the body of a swine. So if you don't follow the regulation of eating for human life, then we definitely going to get the body which is not human, something else, right? So swine accepts any kind of food stuff, including stools, and a human being who has developed such indiscriminate taste must be prepared for a degraded life in the next life. Very, very important point here is Prabhupada says that whatever we do in this present life will decide our next life. And human form of life, it is the point where we can actually decide, we can actually either go back home, back to Godhead, either we can deliver ourselves, or either we can degrade ourselves. In Bhagavad Gita 14.18, Krishna says, I'll show you. In Bhagavad Gita 14.18, Krishna says, ऊर्ध्वम गच्छन्ति सत्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति रासा जगन्य गुणवती सा अधो गच्छन्ति तामसा. So here Krishna is saying that those situated in mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. So very clearly Krishna is saying that if you live a life of a goodness, if you live life like in a sattva guna, then you will definitely go upwards. Means your consciousness will increase and you will go upper planetary systems like heavenly planets. And if you are become a devotee of Krishna, then you can go to the Vaikuntha, spiritual world. But the people who are in mode of passion, they will stay in this material world here. And the people who are in mode of ignorance, they go down in the animal kingdom. Right? So everyone has to go. Nobody is going to live here permanently. One day we have to leave this body, definitely. And then where we are going to go, it depends upon what activity, what desires we have developed in this human form of life. This is a very important. That's why human form of life is very rare and very crucial, very important for us, because it will, this human form of life will decide our next many lives. Whatever the activity we are doing in this human form of life is actually going to affect our future lives. So we have to use this human form of life very, very, very importantly in a right direction. So Prabhupada says here that if we keep eating anything without discrimination, then we will going to degrade our life, definitely, because we will develop a taste which is not good for human form of life, right? So like that's why Prabhupada say that like if we get a human form of life, we should only eat prasadam. See, generally when we offer the prasadam prayer, we say Sharira Avidyajal. Sharira Avidyajal, this body is full of like avidya, ignorance. And Jodindriya Trahekal. This Jodindriya means this our senses, our Jada Indriya. Jada Indriya means that these dull senses, they are like a kal. They are like killing us. They are dragging us. So Jodindriya Trahekal. Jive phele visheshagare. We, the living entity, we are all fallen into this Vishya Shagra. Vishya means we are basically sense gratification. We are, all these senses are basically dragging us to sense gratification. Tare madhye jivayati. In between these senses, the tongue is the most ferocious. Our tongue is the most ferocious. Tare madhye jivati lobho moy sudurmati. And he never gets satisfied. Our tongue is one thing which is never gets satisfied. Actually, tongue does two functions. One is tasting and second is talking. And both are very crucial for us. That's why Prabhupada says that we should use our tongue very cautiously. We should use our tongue for tasting Krishna Prasadam and chanting Hare Krishna. If we don't do these activities, then our tongue will drag us into the hellish planet. So Tare Madhya Jivati Lobhomoy Sudurmati Take Jetha Kathe Sansare. It's very difficult to win this tongue. Very, very difficult. People, the whole world is basically fighting on this tongue. Most of the fight happening in this world because people are talking nonsense. As soon as people start speaking, there is a fight. And because people are eating nonsense food, that's why their consciousness is going down. So Tare Madhye Jivati, Lobomoy Sudurmati, Take Jeta Kadin Sare, Krishna Bododayamai. Krishna is so merciful, Krishna is so magnanimous, merciful on us. Kari bhare jiva jai. In order to win this tongue, swa prasadana dilavai. Krishna has given us this prasadam, the mercy, which is actually our very dear friend Bhakta Bob always distributes prasadam every Sunday. So this prasadam, so prasadam, like Krishna has given this prasadam for us to win this tongue. Krishna Borodamai, Kari Bare Jivaya, Swa Prasadam Dilvai. Say Annamrata Pao. Radha Krishna Gunagao, Prema Dako Chaitanya. So we should honor this prasadam and by loudly chanting Radha Krishna and then eating prasadam as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu took. So this is very, very important that we should actually develop our taste for prasadam, not for the street food or like whatever the like vendor food or whatever they are nonsense food they are distributing they are like selling all over the place. So we should be very careful that we should use our tongue very cautiously in this life. Otherwise, as Prabhupada says that if anyone who don't use their tongue properly, they will be degraded in the next life. Such a life is also God's grace. Even though, like say, for example, somebody want eat like non-veg or filthy food outside here and there, because they have desire, they have developed the desire to eat that food. So they will get same type of body or that kind of body which is suitable for that kind of food. Even that is they are getting by Krishna's grace. Because the conditioned soul desired a body like that for perfectly tasting a particular type of food stuff. If a man gets the body of a swine, it must be considered grace of Lord because Lord award the facility. If somebody say, for example, if somebody want to eat stool, So Krishna says, you know, okay, for if you really want to enjoy stool, best body is swine. You become a swine. If you want to eat nice, healthy food, then get a body of human being, right? Or prasadam, then get a body of devotee, right? But it's up to us what we want. So it is very important that we should develop a taste which is for prasadam, not for the food which is like mode of passion or ignorance. So here Prabhupada finally says that after death, the next body is offered by superior control, not blindly. Very, very important point here. These people think that, well, whatever way we live this life, fine. Huh? We don't know what we're going to do next life, so enjoy this life. Get this life, enjoy. Doesn't matter. Next life will be, who cares what is there? So we might get, we might not get, that's a separate thing. But here, Prabhupada says that you will decide your next life. Depend upon how we perform in this human form of life, our next life is based on that. It is important that Prabhupada says that here, after that next body is offered by superior control, not blindly, depending upon how we are performing in this world, in this human form of life. Our report card, whatever we are like as a child, goes to school, perform whole year, and ultimately at the end of the year they will go award graduation, whether they're going to pass or they're going to fail, depend upon how they perform in the year. Similarly, what next body will going to get, it depend upon how we basically act in this human form of life. So that's why people say a human being therefore must be on his guard as to what sort of body is going to have in next life. We have to choose what we want. It's not that it's just basically like whatever we do, that's fine and we're going to be okay. No, it is in our it's depend upon our actions, what we are performing in this human form of life. So we have to be very cautious, very careful that what we eat, because if we keep eating here and there, it's going to drag us into the mode of ignorance, ultimately in the animal kingdom. So Prabhupada says that for human form of life, the best food is food mode of goodness. But better than that is prasadam. We should buy nice vegetables, fruits, milk products, and everything. Bring it and nicely clean it, nicely prepared it properly by chanting Hare Krishna, and then after preparing nice food stuff, go take to Krishna, offer a tulsi leaf, and pray to Krishna and offer to Krishna. And once Krishna honor that bhoga, it's become a prasadam, and then we honor the prasadam, and then that will be nice. And once we do that, if we keep eating prasadam every day, we will go back home, back to Godhead, because that's what Prabhupada says that here. Like depending upon what type of food you eat, if we keep eating every day prasadam, definitely in next life we'll also get prasadam every time. If we keep eating stool every or nonsense stuff like meat or those products which are not consumption for human form of life, will get the particular type of body. So finally, Prabhupada says that an irresponsible life of indiscrimination is risky. Very, very risky. So if people can fall down if they don't follow the rules and regulation of human form of life. And that is the declaration of all scripture. And that is what mentioned in, especially as I show Bhagavad Gita and many other scriptures, they talk about that whatever action we perform in this human form of life, these will decide our future lives. Very, very important point. And whatever we think at the end of our life, antkalecha mameva smaran muktava kalevaram. Krishna says that if end of life you remember me, you will come to me. If you remember any demigod, you will go to demigod. If you remember some other things, you will go there. So depend upon that, and that will develop the way we actually do action in our whole life. So here Prabhupada actually very specifically mentioned about tasting our tongue. We should use very carefully our tongue, not to eat here and there. Just bring all the fresh, nice organic stuff, bring to the home, or clean it up, cook it nicely, offer to Krishna by offering tulsi leaf, and become a prasadam and then take it. Otherwise, all other foods is very risky. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, anyone who eat food for their own sense gratification by not offering to the Lord, they are actually verily eating sin. If we eat any food which is not offered to Krishna, which is not offered to Lord Vishnu, is actually a sin, because all this food, everything is provided by the Lord to us. And if we are not becoming like grateful to the Lord, and we are not offering to the Lord, is actually sin, because we become a thief. We are taking everything from the nature and using for ourselves, but not really saying thanks to the Lord. That become a sin. So that's why it is very, very important that we should take this process of Krishna consciousnness and offer every day, whatever, whenever we eat. Like generally people eat 1 time a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, doesn't matter. If somebody eat 4 times a day, that's fine, as long as whatever you want to eat, bring it nicely, clean it up, cook it up, and offer to Krishna, and then take the prasadam. That's the success of the life. Otherwise, as Prabhupada say that, if we don't take it this life very responsibly, then our next life will be downgraded to the body which suitable for whatever we are tasting in this life. All right, let me stop here and see if there is anyone have any comment or any questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
One of the things you were saying is that the presiding deity controls, but we also have a choice to make. Can you just clarify?
Yeah, the choice is in the form of a desire. So whenever we want to eat something, say for example, if you want to eat a nice gulab jamun. So in order to eat gulab jamun, so you have a desire in your heart, and when you have a desire, then Paramatma, super soul in your heart, orders or instructs the material nature to arrange for you. Arrange means like, in order to taste gulab jamun, we need sugar, we need milk powder and all other stuff, and then fire and everything. All these things are basically are given by the material nature, and they are being done through the process. Even though we are putting our endeavor, little bit of endeavor, but actually it is all done by the material nature, and ultimately the controlling deity, the taste that we actually experience, that is coming by the controlling deity who is controlling the tongue. So in from a living entity perspective, we have a control on our desire. Say for example, as I say, we can control our desire, but it is not always that whatever we desire we'll get it. So but that our desires are being satisfied by Paramatma in our heart. You see my point, what I'm saying?
I'm trying.
So we are trying to say, whenever we want to taste something, for example, any food we want to eat, those food is, we have desire, but we cannot control that food. Means those things are provided by the Lord's arrangement, through the material nature, through the controlling deities, or whatever is available by the Lord in the nature. We can control the desire, but we cannot control the material nature. So another example I can say that, like, if a child want to eat something, but like say, suppose child say like, I want to eat pizza today. But mother say, no, today is Ekadashi, you can't eat pizza. So I will only give you like this well, today is Ekadashi. Actually, we are talking about food. We should be more talking about austerities. But anyway, mother say, no, today you have to eat this. So mother is basically we can take mother as in the role of Krishna or super soul, and a child like a living entity desiring something, right? So a child can desire, but who is going to provide the food? The mother, right? Similarly, we as a human being, we can desire something, but in reality, who is going to satisfy our desire? That is Krishna. He's going to make arrangement through material nature, through, and then ultimately the tasting part is also done by the controlling deities. We just basically experience that through our senses, and ultimately that we say, oh, actually, as a soul, we do not eat gulab jamun, we do not taste sweetness. Soul doesn't perform any of those actions. Soul, as a soul, we basically sitting in the heart, in this body, we are just seeing what is happening. If you see, this body is made up of material nature, all our senses are material. Everything is basically like whatever we are doing is basically done by these senses. But as a soul, we just basically feel that whatever the mind does, whatever our body does, that I am doing, and that's why it's feel that okay, I have done. But actually, for the food for the soul is not gulab jamun. Food for the soul is basically Krishna consciousness. Uh, So that's the main part, is like tasting thing is actually done by the demigods, and the arrangement is done by the material nature under the direction of Krishna. I don't know, is that clear to me?
No, it is becoming clearer. So we can desire it, but based on our karma, that desire will either be fulfilled or not fulfilled.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, definitely.
so if I definitely want to get a human life next life if I want to even come back. I don't want to come back, but if I do a human life as a devotee, so I don't know if I even have the question right now. If I want, that's my desire, but my taste should go along with that desire, right? I
Yes.
should not desire, naturally I should not desire anything that is not good towards that goal.
Yes. So if you want a human, if somebody want a human form of life, so we should do what human does. So just we can desire something, but our actions are against our desire. Say for example, if we desire human form of life, and then we should perform the dharma activities according to the varnashrama dharma. Varnashrama is basically the principle through which a person can become human. So we have desire, but our actions are not according to desire. It means we are pretenders. We are not really like want what we want, what we are basically doing. So our actions, our desires has to go together. And accordingly, like if you have a strong desire, so suppose if you have weak desire, you say, okay, I want that, but I will do this. I want that, but I'll do this, right? So that is mean that you don't have a strong desire. You have just basically you are desiring just to cheat. But on the other side, you are not doing that. So means according, if we say for example, I have a desire to go to temple today, suppose, but I am not doing any action. I am sitting in the home and relaxing and sleeping. But Krishna is saying that if you want to go to like a temple, I will make arrangement. Means Krishna has given us a car, Krishna has given us a road, Krishna has given us like environment, and Krishna has like arrange everything. But we have to do some endeavor on that path, right? Desire plus some endeavor is needed. If you don't do even a small endeavor and just lie down without doing anything, then Krishna says your desire is, you are a pretender. You are not, your desire is not true. You are cheating. You have cheating desire. You don't have the right desire, or means the correct desire, which basically has to be fulfilled. So Krishna will reject your desire also. So your desire also shows your sincerity, that you really want it. If you really do, if you have desire to become human next life, you should be sincere about that. You can't say that okay, I have desire to become human, but I will not do this action, I will do something else. So then Krishna says your desire is not sincere. You will do what you are doing actually.
So the desire is under our control. Desire is not
Yes.
being dictated by the
Krishna.
demigod.
No,
Okay.
not even Krishna. Krishna will not interfere in our desire. That's a free will we have.
Okay. That is what I think
Yeah.
that's where the
Krishna has given us a free will to choose. And that's where we have independence. That's what Prabhupada says that many times, that we are minute living entity with a minute independence. And what minute independence is that? We have free to choose. We have desire. We can desire. A living entity can desire whatever they want. It is in their hand. And but after that, once they desire, it goes back the control to Krishna, and Krishna will basically take care of that part. That's why we say man proposes, God disposes. Man gives an idea, they have a desire. That's what Prabhupada says, that in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says that like once we have a desire, so that's why we should actually very careful not to desire wrong thing also. Because we should sometime in our heart we desire wrong things. We don't we just keep thinking, even though we were not getting right now, but we keep desiring. So ultimately it might happen that that desire might become a reality for you. Because Krishna, if Krishna will say yes, Once Krishna approve the desire, that desire become a reality. So we should desire not. That's why Prabhupada says it's the whole. The what Prabhupada says, our idea is that right now we are materially conscious. So we are thinking about the material things. So our idea is that we should basically change our consciousness from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Right now we are desiring material things, but we should start. We cannot kill desire. Desire is our inherent quality. Desire is inherent in our nature as a soul. So we cannot kill desire. What Prabhupada says that we should change our desire from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. So we should, rather than desiring material things, we should desire spiritual things. Rather than eating regular food or any other food in the outside state, we should desire for prasadam. Because eating is common. Whether you are a devotee or a non-devotee, you have to eat. You can't survive without eating. But depend upon what you desire. Are you desiring prasadam or you're desiring some outside street vendor food, whatever, So if you're desiring that food, you go and eat that food, and then Krishna will award you according body. But if you're desiring prasadam, Krishna will make arrangement for you prasadam.
That's true. Prabhu.
It's all based on your desire. So all we are doing in Krishna consciousness is changing our desire actually. When we come to Krishna consciousness, all we are doing, we are changing our desire from material thing to spiritual thing. And that's process we take for whole life, Ultimately, when we stop desiring any material thing and only desire spiritual thing, then we are perfect Krishna consciousness. All right. Okay. Any other questions, comments anyone have?
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for this desiring thing, Sometimes if we desire, we do whatever you are saying, that spiritually, what I want to do, prepare and something. But unavoidable circumstances, if something happens accidentally without your knowledge, what happens?
If something happened accidentally?
Accidentally without our knowledge. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah. So it means that was basically the
that goes on karma?
No, if some means if you, when you're saying accidentally happen, means you make a mistake.
I make a mistake, or accidentally I might have taken something prasadam, somebody has given me something like that.
Accidentally. So see,
I am not intended to eat that.
Yeah. So I have heard it one time my Guru Maharaj was saying that if you have done something accidentally, which is not your desire, say suppose you don't want it, but by mistake you took it, Krishna will forgive that.
Okay.
See, Krishna understands. Say suppose if Raju or Maruti does something accidentally, not intentionally, by mistake he does something wrong, would you punish them? No, you won't punish them. You say, oh, that was mistake, that's fine. Krishna understands that Krishna is our father, Krishna is our mother. Krishna understands that we are not wanting that. It is not our desire, it is not our intention, but it just happened accidentally because of the situation. So Krishna forgive that. So for devotees, that's why my Guru Maharaj says that if devotee by mistake does something wrong, which they are not intentionally wanted, Krishna forgive them. That's why Krishna says that I will take care of that. Don't worry. But if you are doing something intentionally and your desire is to do that, then that is separate matter.
Thank you. And one more thing, you gave these 10 of these things: creation, sthana, and that order I missed it little bit, Prabhu.
Yeah,
first is creation.
First is the primary creation, what is called sarga.
Primary.
Second is visarga, secondary creation by Lord Brahma.
Third
was the sthanam.
Sthana. And fourth is
Poshanam.
And Manvantara is fifth.
Yeah, Manvantara is fifth one. Then, or we can say the fifth one is Utiya. Utiya is the fifth one. Sixth one is Manvantara.
Okay.
And then seventh one is Ishanu Katha, science of God.
Yeah, Ishanu Katha. And ninth is Mukti.
Nirodha.
Eighth is what?
Nirodha.
Eighth is Nirodha?
Okay. Yeah, winding up the material world. And ninth one is
Mukti.
Mukti, liberation, and the 10th
10th
one
is
is
Ashraya.
Ashraya. This Samambhoma.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
So very, very, like you said, everything depends on karma. And whatever we do, we get it. That's all. The same thing where however tasty we cook the food, it will be tasty. If we don't put salt or pepper or something,
Yep.
it will be like that. So that is our karma also like that.
Yes.
Whatever we do, we get it.
Yes, Mata.
The simple thing.
Yeah, it depend upon like our actions. Accordingly, we
Alright.
get the reactions. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Bhakta Bob, you want to share something? You have something to contribute?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So I thought of a question based off of Mother Vindavali's question. So obviously we're supposed to eat prasadam. There's certain foods that we're not supposed to eat, certain things that we're not supposed to eat. You know, no garlic, no onion,
Yeah.
no meat, no eggs, no fish. But what if someone makes you something, they do it out of love, but let's say there's garlic in it. And they do it with the best intentions.
Right.
What do? Do you accept that? Because I feel like if you were to turn it away, that's an offense. You know, you would offend the person because, you know, let's say they said, "Oh, I know you're vegetarian. I made you this meal. Here you go." And then let's say you start to eat it, and you're like, "Well, is there garlic in it?" "Oh yeah, I put garlic in it." Like, how do you handle those situations then?
Well, it depend upon your relationship with that person. So, if that person understands, say for example, as you say, like many time people think that garlic is like a vegetarian food, like so they really don't see,
Yeah.
even though like you are saying that you are vegetarian, but they think that it's okay. So it depend upon your relationship with that person. So you have to decide like whether if I'll say no, will that person really feel offended or not? So if you think that yes, that person will really feel offended, then you can explain them that well, I don't prefer garlic, but because you made it, I'm really thankful to you. You have did it for me. It's a great opportunity for me to take it, and but I really can't take it. Depend upon like my vows, whatever I've taken it. So depend upon again. I'm saying it's your relationship with that person. Like can they understand your position or not? And because if that's the only food they have, like maybe you can take some little bit of that for time being. I'm saying like because if you really feel that it's really going to offend that person, like if you don't take it all, so and that's the only food you have, probably like you can. I'm not suggesting, but like many people does that. Like not really make like a
Big
big
deal.
fight or whatever. So you can handle situation accordingly. Like if whatever the way. Sometimes what I do generally, I will say like okay, just pack me. I'll take home and eat it. So because or I just drink a water. I say like that's fine. I'm okay with that. But yeah, definitely we don't want to offend people because they have done with out of love, and we have to honor that because we have to take their love because that's what we have as a living entity. It's like because Krishna in their heart also, and we have to honor that. But we should try our not to offend them, and we have to try to keep our vow also. So like it depends upon scenario. I'm saying like you have to handle accordingly. There are many options people does. Some people take little bit of that. Some people take like home, like okay, I'll eat it at home right now. I'm not hungry. Just like have a nice discussion and then come. So depend upon that, like how you handle it, do it. Some people are very strict. Some people are not that strict. It's again garlic and onion is in mode of ignorance. The food is in mode of ignorance, and we really can't offer to Krishna about that. But again, it's like depend upon how where we want to make a compromise. It's a compromise definitely, but depend upon like is it an everyday affair or just a one day affair? So one day it should be okay. I don't think it's a big matter, but it shouldn't be every day. It shouldn't be taken as like an excuse and then go everywhere. Okay, that's fine because everybody is making out of love. So So it's again like a person has to make their own choice how they are going to do it with that, you know.
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right, Prabhu, thank you.
Anyway, Bob Prabhu, you give prasadam to everybody,
Yes.
prasadam. So you will be okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
He's serving all the devotees nice prasadam. That's wonderful.
Yeah. That's, we will get lot of punya.
Thank you, Mataji.
You are getting all the blessings from Krishna.
Yeah,
Feeding all the Vaishnavas every day.
that's true. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
All right, so thank you very much. We can end now. Hare Krishna, everyone. Vancha kalpatarubhascha
Tarpisha kripasindobhyo cha patitana
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
vaishnavibhyo namo.